I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another Patreon review. This time for a user named Advent, who wanted me to review the 1998-99 comedy Free Enterprise. And that's actually a welcome thing to do because I've been a fan of this film for a long time. I really enjoy Free Enterprise. It was a lot of fun watching it again. And first off, I apologize if my mouth seems muffled. I do have a cough drop. Also, thank you to Advent for pledging to my Patreon and everyone else who's pledged to my Patreon, as well as people who have sent me requests via PayPal. Links to both are down below for those interested. Free Enterprise is kind of in the tradition of Clerks and Swingers, where the majority of the film is a group of people talking about certain subjects. Also, they deal with relationships, the ups and downs of relationships, in particular of our main character or characters. Pop culture references get thrown about as well. Here, a lot more sci-fi pop culture, kind of a Clerks Swingers version. If it's littered with sci-fi references. Or I guess you could say it's a much better version of the Big Bang Theory. A little bit more adult. It is R-rated. And yeah, better version of the Big Bang Theory show. It's directed by a guy named Robert Meyer Burnett. And it's written by a guy named Mark Altman. And I mention those because they were friends for a while and they wanted to do this movie for a while, and pretty much the two characters are based on them. So you have Mark, who's based on the writer. The Mark character here, played by actor Eric McCormack. He's a bit anal retentive, a little bit emotionally cut off with women because he doesn't want to feel hurt. He is a writer. He writes for a magazine, and at times he pitches his movie ideas. And the way it began, I remember when I first saw this way back in the day, the movie sold me from the beginning scene where one of our main characters is pitching the story he wrote, Manhunter meets the Brady Bunch. And he names the movie Brady Killer. And he talks about this tracking shot, and he mentions movies like Goodfellas, how you have this long tracking shot, and oh, it's a house. This house looks familiar, and you're going over to where's the boys in the girls' rooms? Where are they? And it just, that outlandish of an idea that this guy wrote a script where a killer only goes after women named Jan, Marcia, and Sandy. That right there kind of tells you what kind of sense of humor this film has. So you have him, and then you have this other guy, Rob, a.k.a. Robert, based on the director. of this film, where he's much more emotionally ready to go get him, be out there, is able to sleep with a lot of women, but he's not ready to take that step of responsibility to settle down. He's irresponsible with money. He's way behind on his rent and all these other bills. So his friends and such always have to pay for him. So they both have their issues. And the movie's about the two of them dealing with their issues, relationships. And then the two of them meet their idol, William Shatner, in a bookstore one day. But then when they meet William Shatner, they think he's a little bit cuckoo because Shatner wants to do a musical on Julius Caesar where he's going to play all the parts. So it was fun to see William Shatner take the piss out of himself, have fun with himself. And this is those movies that if you're a fan of sci-fi and you like movies like Clerks, you definitely should check this out. I mean, and I think this is a movie that would play even better today than perhaps back then, because nowadays the whole, quote, geek culture is the cool thing to know about and the cool thing to be a part of. But back then, these were the days where that wasn't really the case, that people would make fun of you for knowing too much about Star Trek or things of this nature. And one of the big fun parts of the movie is catching all the references when these characters talk to each other. Whether it be how they're very much in depth about the original Star Trek, throwing out dialogue, like one of them goes, "It was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call." I'm like, I get that. Or one guy tells the others, "You know what, you need yourself a Trixie." A what? A Trixie, you know, Speed Racer's girlfriend. You know, when his ass was in trouble, she'd get in the Mach 5 and go in and save his sorry ass. That's who you need. And with the time this was made, this was a time where Laserdisc was a thing, so you hear a lot of talk about Laserdisc. Like someone has the Planet of the Apes collection on Laserdisc, or, "Oh, I can't believe you spent all this money on a Dawn of the Dead Laserdisc." So stuff like that is fun. You also, you our characters going to Toys R Us or comic book shops. At one point, our character goes to a comic book shop to look for a Sandman comic, but then this girl took it, and that's the girl Robert meets, and they fall in love, and that's a big part of the movie. And again, what makes the fun of it is these two actors. I thought they did a good job playing their characters. The fun references, entertaining dialogue. I guess if you're into that pop culture type of dialogue, a la Swingers, Clerks, things of that nature. If you're not, this might not win you over, but if you are like I am, it's a lot of fun to listen to. And it's just a lot of fun moments. I mean, after that very beginning where that guy gives a pitch meeting, there's a little bit of flashback to when both were kids. And when one of them was a kid, they tried desperately to get into seeing Star Trek the motion picture. And he's not let into the movie. He's like, what? It's rated G. And the others get him beaten up because he was wearing a Star Trek uniform. And when they were kids, they both saw William Shatner as an imaginary friend. And one of the fun moments is the imaginary William Shatner's telling the young Robert, like, "Why did you start this fight? I mean, come on, you're wearing a Star Trek uniform." It's what he said. You don't want to hear it. No, yes, I want to hear it. What did he say? He said that Han Solo was so much cooler than Captain Kirk. And then Shatner pauses and goes, "Kick the little fucker's ass." So, I mean, see, to hear William Shatner say stuff like that is a lot of fun. Also, you're not going to find... Sorry, my cough dropped. You're not going to find a lot of movies referencing Logan's Run as much as this movie does. Because that's one of the mark his characters, Aaron McCormack characters, big griefs is that he's close to turning 30. So there's a lot of Logan's Run references about renewal, and there's even an entertaining nightmare scene where he imagines that he's in the world of Logan's Run and his buddy's chasing him. He's got the thing in his palm blinking red. So a lot of fun moments of that nature. I would say my friend Michael Keane, the choice voice, if he sees this, I would really recommend him for this, to check this out. I think he would get a kick out of these characters, or at least this type of dialogue and the way it plays out. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'd be curious to hear his thoughts on it. And then again, it's cool to see William Shatner taking the piss out of his playing himself. A lot of references to the original Star Trek, a lot of them. And there could be fun stuff where these two guys get carried away with their nerdiness, like they're talking to Shatner. It's like, you're friends with him? You don't even like any of the third season of Star Trek. And then I just, that's true. I like this episode, and I like this episode. Which, that's funny because the third season of Star Trek is considered very much the weakest, because that has what's called the worst episode, Spock's brain. But even if you don't know that, the scene still plays off. I mean, the movie ends with William Shatner, part of this party, with this rap guys, singing his Julius Caesar song for his musical, Tears, Tears for Caesar. Don't cry, Caesar. Don't cry, Caesar. Which, I mean, it sounds horrible, a rap, Julius Caesar, William Shatner, but I thought it was actually fun for the scene that it's doing, for the scene, for the way it's part of the movie, and kind of catchy as well, kind of a bit catchy. Tears, tears for Caesar. I mean, I still remember to this day. I mean, yeah, I rewatched the film, but before I even rewatched the film, and like a few others, this is for free on Tubi TV. If you've never seen the film and you're like, I'm not sure if I'm going to have the money to rent it, again, TUBITV.com. Type Free Enterprise. It's on there for free. My only issue of the film, because I don't have many, because I do think it's a fun, fairly funny movie with some good acting. I think Shatner having fun with him, playing a version of himself. One of the characters even talk about how they make a joke about how the rest of the cast of Star Trek hates Shatner, and Shatner's reaction to that. Yeah, there's fun moments of that nature. But my only issue is the running time's a bit long. It's almost 2 hours. It's like an hour and 50-some minutes. It's a bit lengthy for a comedy. There's probably a good 10 minutes of teeny bits you could snip out here and there, give or take. Maybe 15 pushing it. Again, that's the only big issue I could think of. It's a tad overlong for a comedy. But with that said, Free Enterprise, I do think it's a fun film. Clerks meets Swingers with a sci-fi twist. It's, Swingers, because of these guys, their perpetual want to go to parties, things of that nature. And then Clerks, because of that pop culture dialogue melding in with relationship issues. And then again, this one much more sci-fi, Star Trek, things of that. The music worked for the movie. The score, I thought the score fit the film. Other actors, I recognize Phil Lamar. He's one of the supporting actors. The others I don't recognize too much, but I thought they played their roles fairly well. And yeah, for Enterprise, like I say, it's a fun movie, fun comedy, fairly funny, entertaining pop culture references. I didn't think it got annoying, irritating. I don't know how refreshing it would be compared to, a lot of movies I do today, but here, I thought it was a pretty fun script. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's nothing too original story-wise. People try to find love, deal with relationships. You've seen that in plenty upon plenty of movies, but I thought the way it's handled here, I would have been curious to see a sequel. I would have been curious to see a lot more from this director and writer combo. Like the two of them working together on a bunch of other projects. But yeah, thanks once again to Advent for his Patreon pledge. Thanks for watching. Take care. And remember, don't cry. Don't cry, Caesar. Unleash the dogs of war. War. Sorry. If you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, check out the movie. Again, it's for free on Tubi TV. A much better version of the Big Bang Theory. That's the way I put it. So, take care. See ya.